Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the February edition. Having a little technical issues here with the internet, so that's why we're waiting a couple minutes here to get started. So I guess I'm gonna have to use usually I use my iPad. I guess I'm gonna use my phone. If you don't know who I am, I'm Joe Thompson, president of and again, yes, happy President's Day. Now, when they say President's Day, I don't think Thompson. I think Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln,
and Darrell.
I don't think Thompson. All right, but thank you for recognizing President's Day. So we got a lot to talk about today. First of all, we must have done something really good because we have 10 new members this month. 10. So thank you, Tom. Voting Saber.
Any of them here?
And we have 10 new members. One of them, Mr. Sam Barrett, right there.
Oh, he's been here.
He's officially a member of our chapter.
All right, man. Phoenix City, Alabama.
From Phoenix City, Alabama.
I'm so glad y'all remember my hometown.
We have Wilson Cogan from Houston. Are you here? No. David Fields from Houston. Charles Morgan from Port Neches. Did I say that right?
Fort Nature.
Anyway, yeah, like they said. And Michael O'Hare from McKinney. Carter and Melanie Pena from Conroe.
Wow.
And Arjun Ravakumar from Houston.
Easy for you to say.
Izzy, yeah. Ted Walker from Houston and Gary Bonnet from Tomball. How many of these folks? Gary right there. Welcome, Gary.
Which one's Gary?
Right here. It says Gary Bonnet right here.
Oh.
Yeah, glad to be here, guys.
Oh,
I recognize the Tomball suite now.
how many of these were from the Fan Fest?
Hey, Gary.
I don't know. Gary, did we meet you at Fan Fest?
No, I'm brand spanking new.
Brand spanking new. Why? Wow. Okay. I don't know. Didn't we say that the one person was from Fan Fest?
One, I can't remember which name it was.
Was it the Pena, Carter Pena?
It may have.
So Carter and Carter.
Maybe McCroskey. I have to look at my email.
Okay.
Gary doesn't have his picture up.
All right. So maybe some of our recruiting efforts at Fan Fest paid off. So again, thank you for that. So you have somebody else? Are you new?
Yeah, I met you at FanFest. I was working it. I met you at the table. I'm an usher for the Astros. And
Yeah. And what's your name again?
happy to be here, man.
What's your name again? Steve. Steve, yeah, I talked to Steve via email. So yeah, welcome, Steve.
Yeah.
Usher in the Astro.
I'll join you tonight too.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you,
you're
Steve. Thank you.
Math.
So wow,
Math's
11.
okay.
All right, so last month we had Mike Acosta, the expert on the Astrodome. We are still talking about the fact that there's a river under the Astrodome, right?
And a catfish pond on one side.
Fish pond on its side.
Water
So we learned a lot from Mike. Mike has requested if you have any stories about the Astrodome, please get in contact with him. He would love for everyone to share their stories about the Astrodome. So please get in touch. I mean, this is an important year, I think, for the Astrodome. We really need to get the word out. Really need to do something. Houston needs to get off its tail, figure something out, or Harris County. So that's my opinion. All right. Mike has also reached out to me about the possibility of working something with him, his show, Houston City Beat or something like that him and Lisbeth do.
podcast.
Our podcast,
Website.
but it's an actual broadcast, a TV broadcast or something, because they were doing stories from like U of H. So Mike has talked about possibly doing something about the Astrodome with our chapter. So stay tuned. So might have different people from the chapter talk about the Astrodome.
Oh, that's right.
Wanted a group or do something. Yeah. So
Is LinkedIn or email still the best way to get in touch with Acosta?
Probably the best way to get in touch with Acosta is via Messenger, one of his social media platforms. The
Okay.
easiest way for me to get in touch with him has always been the Facebook Messenger, but Mike's a busy guy, so
Okay.
he said, you know, he'll look at his email, but every time I send him an email, he doesn't respond. So the easiest way is the Messenger, probably on social media.
Or you can call him at 832-326-7812.
You want Mike? Okay. I don't know if Mike wants you to give up. Okay, all right. So, or you can talk to McCroskey here. He has his phone number. So I'll send it to you. But all right. Anybody planning on going to SABR 53 in Dallas? Anybody plan on going June 25th to the 29th?
TV screen. Cooking up.
SABR 53 in Dallas. They have
Yes,
a list
sir.
of people going to be there. Pudge Rodriguez will be there. Bruce Bochy will be there. Bruce Bochy, the manager.
Former Astro.
Former Astro. Chris Young will be there. Former Astros GM Tim Papuro will be there.
So we're not going.
Tom Schieffer will be there. Did I say Chris Young? Rob Matwick, Jack Hill, James Beckett, and a couple other people they're still adding. So looks to be like a pretty good lineup.
And it's reasonable. I looked tonight, the rooms are only $160 something a night.
Right. I'm probably going to be staying at the Hilton right across the street.
And they're usually they're like 300 something or 290.
Right. Yeah. It's 285 right now for the early registration.
Yeah, and used to, I was thinking it was about 5, so everything's a lot less expensive than normal. And
Yeah.
And it's closer.
And it's closer. That's right. Also, they're offering people the option if you want to go to a Frisco Rough Riders game on Thursday. I think it's $40. I don't know, 25 or something like that. Yeah, and then on Friday night there's a game. There's a bus to go to Globe Life Field for the Rangers game.
It's like $70 plus a tour of the stadium.
Yeah, there's one option with the tour of the stadium and one option with just the game. So
It's a pretty good deal this year.
pretty good deal going to Dallas.
Stay at the hotel, the parking is free.
Really?
No way.
Y'all was, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. So let's have a good contingent. We're gonna have to set up our own meal as a chapter because I don't believe Maxwell Cates is going, who normally sets up the meal.
Oh, that was the only reason I would check out was.
So it's gonna have a meal. I'm gonna talk to Gilbert and Paul Rogers, who runs the Dallas chapter. And maybe all of us can get together and have like a dinner. So that'll be nice, I think. So anyway, so early registration, I think, goes for the next couple months. But check it out. All right, so since Lucha doesn't want to talk, we at Fan Fest, the last couple of years, I've told Lucha, look, it's pretty cold. We probably need to get like some, and a couple of other people are like, man, it's cold here. So we thought, well, maybe we can order some hoodies that has the chapter name on the front and the back. So Lucha was kind enough to I ordered one, and can you pick up the hoodie? And anybody who's interested in you can bring it up here if you want. Anybody who's interested in getting the chapter hoodie,
Put it on camera.
right there, that's
There you go.
the front and the back.
See the back, Tim.
Right there. Nice and warm. Okay, in Houston, you can probably wear that 3 months a year. But unless you're my grandson who wears it every day. And then you also have regular shirts, right? Regular t-shirts. Kind of the same thing. So
Thank you, Vanna.
the hoodie is $40. Okay, let Lucha know if you want to get a hoodie. And the t-shirt is what?
30.
Okay, the hoodie is 40, the t-shirt's 30. So if you want to order one, feel free to. Considering the weather this week, it probably won't be a time for this week, but obviously it's supposed to be pretty cold in town. But I'll be nice and warm wearing that thing around Wednesday or Thursday. So, talk with her. To continue our Astrodome celebration all year, next month, besides our presentation tonight with Jonathan, next month, we're having Benny Gilbert speak to us about his Astrodome restoration project that he came up with, and Jim Umbricht Memorial. So that meeting next month will be March 17th, St. Patty's Day.
Oh, Jim Umbright.
Jim Umbright, yeah. St. Patty's Day next month, so bring your, get your drink on, all right, for the
What day,
next chapter.
what day is the meeting?
The next chapter meeting, March the 17th, St. Patrick's Day.
On the patio.
On the Patty's Day.
Oh.
So, get ready for it.
Wear my green hat.
Yeah, gotta wear green.
And thank you to Mike McCroskey for my next announcement. I'm going to let him talk about it. We have a very special meeting set up for April. We will not meet here in the restaurant. We will have a very special guest speaking to us, and we have a very special guest on April the 12th. Mike, take it away. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
I'll get it. Yes, Joe was complaining that Astros have a home game on the third Monday and on the fourth Monday. We're on.
On screen.
This way. There you go. There you go, Mike. All right.
That we see.
Joe was complaining.
So, yeah, Joe is complaining like he always does. So, we normally go to a Space Cowboy and Skeeters game early in the season. So I looked and they have a game on the 12th, which does conflict with an Astros home game. But we had the Astros theme, and then Tal Smith recently moved from Sugar Land up to the Lake Conroe, but he's been wanting to come back to Sugar Land. So I called him up and said, hey, I got an opportunity for you to come back to Sugar Land. So I was able to call the Cowboys, and they'll give us up to 50 tickets. And they'll hold the tickets. I didn't think they'd give us that many, because that's going to be their first big home game. They usually sell out. They usually have a giveaway on Saturday. And we can get, so I'm trying to get the 50 people like at the end of next month. And they've given us that time. And so Tal is, the game's at 6. They let people in about 4:30. We can get in at 4, and Tal's gonna talk to us for those of you that don't know, Tal came down here with Gabe Paul, who was the former manager of the Cincinnati Redlegs, general manager, and Tal was his secretary. He was in his late 20s, and they were hired by Judge Roy Highfines to come down and help start the Houston Ball Club. But they got crosswise, Gabe Paul did, and he hooked him back to Cincinnati or wherever he went. And Crosley Field was a Cincinnati deal that had a incline warning track, and that's why Tal's Hill was the Minute Maid, but that was a tribute to Cincinnati. But anyway, Judge Roy Highfines invited Tal to stay. He wanted him to be the liaison between the construction of the dome and the ball club. So Tal's a young guy, not even 30 years old, or right about that, and it changed his life. So he oversaw all the construction of the Astrodome. So I asked him if he could speak to us about that, and he's willing to do it. You know, I didn't know if we found out about there was a river under it last week, and he didn't remember that. But every time he talks, I learn something. So he's just a wealth of knowledge, but he's gonna come down and talk to us before the game. So we've got the special of $5 off at $65 a ticket. They went up on the parking, guys, so it was $3 last year. This year's it's $4. So don't let that scare you, but it'll be $65 a person plus 4. You get the buffet meal before the game, ice cream in the 5th. You get to sit in the air conditioned Regions suite. There's a bar up there with mixed drinks, or you can go out and watch the game behind home plate. So
And what's the date?
April 12th. It's the first,
The Saturday?
yes, game starts at 6. We get in about 4. But I'm pretty excited about it. Tal hasn't talked to us in a long time. He's just an encyclopedia of what we're talking about with the 60th anniversary.
Right.
Of the dome, and he was there 60 years ago, supervising the whole thing, so. Yeah, it's super cool. So anyway,
Gave us the Astrodome. Wasn't it his idea for the Astrodome?
I don't know who that was, it was put Monsanto, I don't know, but the grass was dying, they were painting the dirt out there. They had to do something.
Tal found the company that gave it.
Brian was in the stadium around the university. And I did up there to check it out. It's true. This is just what we need.
Right,
There's the story I didn't know. Probably, but
there you go. So Tal gave the world Astrodome.
He had Brown.
pretty much.
I agree.
So that's it, so.
How could we-
Joe sent out an email, I want to get a check, because I take your check, I take the information, I give it. I'm gonna give them the checks I have this week. They have your name, then you can go online and download your tickets, because they're all digital. So you can give me a check for however many you want. The sooner the better, I guess I can take them up to next month's list.
Who do we make the checks out to?
It's Sugarland Baseball LLC, but SL Baseball LLC. That's it.
Right,
The SL's for Sugarland. So SL Baseball LLC, $65 a ticket, $4. Any questions?
We include the parking with,
Yes, and you'll get a parking ticket when you download your ticket,
okay, so then it's $69.
or one ticket and one parking. But if you come in a group, you still only need one parking.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you see, not as easy as you thought. Hey, you gotta think. Sorry, Gloria. Anything else? Game starts at 6, we're probably gonna get there about 4. They open the gates at 4:30, there'll be people lined up for the giveaway, but we'll get in, do the ticket office early.
and you want the money as early as possible so we can get our seats.
Yeah, I wanna get up to 50 tickets, I think we'll sell that easy.
So that's our April meeting.
Yeah.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yeah, okay,
Great. Thanks, I'm excited.
But. Great idea, Mike.
yes, approved. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
But I agree, it's great, that'd be a real good meeting.
All right, Patrick, Bob, would you like to make an announcement for fantasy baseball? That's real fast. Fantasy baseball is starting up next month.
Yeah,
All
so,
those of you interested, go ahead.
so we'll do a fantasy baseball league again. I know we've done the last couple of years.
Who's that guy?
Patrick Petty, right?
Ah, Patrick.
Communication.
We'll send an email out with more info, but the draft right now, opening days in Tokyo, the March 18th and 19th, so we'll probably do a draft the Sunday before March 16th. But we'll send all that out, so if you're interested, be on the lookout for an email in the next 2 days on that.
So how many players did we have last year? I know I ended up in last place, so, something like that.
Yeah, no, we have an odd number, 15.
And how many can you have?
You can have up to whatever, but even number works the best, so ideally we have an even number
We need to
this year, yeah.
make it even. Either that or have 2 leagues.
Yeah, something with even numbers, because it got goofy with having a bye week and all that stuff.
Yeah, then you could have a World Series.
Yeah.
Right, all right, thanks for that, Patrick. One more thing, we're also having the Astros win contest, starting next month, and Herb has volunteered to graciously, send him your predictions. All right, that he has graciously approved.
Before our next meeting.
Huh?
Anytime after the next meeting.
Anytime after the next meeting, but people might want to start thinking about it. And Patrick and I just came up with a great idea for the tiebreakers. So all you have to do, are we doing, just Astros wins?
Yeah, Astros wins
Okay,
is the first one.
Just Astros wins,
Awesome.
just win. The first tiebreaker will be how many games Altuve plays in left field? First tiebreaker, how many games Altuve plays in left field? And the second tiebreaker is
How many games Jordan plays?
how many games Jordan plays in left field?
20.
We love for you.
All right. So send your prediction of how many wins the Astros are going to have. First tiebreaker, how many games Altuve will play left. Second tiebreaker, how many games Jordan will play left. All right. Thanks, Patrick.
We emailed that,
You email it to her.
or asked what?
I'll send out her
Oh,
email address.
okay.
I'll send out her. Okay. One more thing. Thanks, Herbie. Herb Wally, the man.
John Herbicide. John. Yeah.
So I was going a little bit down memory lane just a couple days ago, digging around the internet for Astrodome memories. And I remembered that back in 2014, the Houston Library did an Astrodome Memories project. And so I found, I know they were doing it because I was part of the project. I found this website where they put all these different people who had talked about their time at the Astrodome and what they had done. So if it's possible, I'm not sure if we can or not, I'd like to share one. Here, of course, is Mike Acosta. We're not going to do 30 minutes of it. But go down to Donald right there. All these different people, they have their stories at the Astrodome. We're going to listen to Donald in a second. If you go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see this weird looking person here. That's me. In 2014, and my family were interviewed by Michaela Selly, who's a friend of mine. She was the Hispanic archivist for the library, the collection. But my dad, the reason we came is because my dad worked at the Astrodome. And they asked us our memories about Astrodome. And Dad, of course, talked about his time as the cashier, getting your money for parking. He also had an interesting, he didn't remember the specific details, but he knew the people who provided, since my dad worked for the highway department, he built a lot of the freeways around the city. So he knew people that had supplied all the concrete for the Astrodome Foundation. Okay. And he also had a picture that he showed during the conversation about how all the employees met down at the bottom of the dome, and they took this big old picture. And the photo is about 50 or 60 people, probably a lot more. So it's a great little thing. If you have 15, 18 minutes to listen to that. But so you have all these people. Here's Welcome Wilson, talks for about an hour. With Bob Watson, who talked for 28 minutes.
May they rest in peace.
Then Mike Acosta talks for about 30 minutes about the dome. But I wanted us to listen to Donald here, if we could. It's about 5. It's right here.
Yeah, let me reset the shooter.
Donald Bond. It's about, you know,
Donald Bond?
he'll tell his story real fast. It's only about 5 minutes. If we can get it to play without destroying the internet. I thought it was pretty neat. I was listening to it.
Today is August 8th, 2015, and we're here for the Astrodome Memories event. And I have Mr. Donald Bond with me. Welcome, Mr. Bond.
Welcome. Thank you very much.
If you could tell me when and where you were born.
I was born in Jackson, Tennessee in 1955, June 9th.
And when did you come to Houston?
Came to Houston in May of 1966.
And the reason?
The reason I came to Houston is because my dad played with the Astros the last year that they were Colt 45s, and the last 2 years they were Colt 45s, and the first year that they were the Astros. So he was part of that building process and going from an outdoor field to a indoor playing surface.
And for those who haven't made the association, your father's name and position?
Walter Bond, he played first base and outfield with the Astros.
So what was your first visit to the Astrodome?
You mean what was it like?
Yes.
Actually, it was kind of amazing. What I remember most about the Astrodome, I just couldn't get over the size of the roof. You know, the roof was just so large, and you know, first thing that comes to mind, that came to my mind, was a house. And here was a big house, you know, and I just could not get over that. And then the other thing was, most of the time we sat in the field boxes. But if there was some other event in the dome, we may have had tickets, on the second level, the mezzanine. And, as a child, you have funny eating habits, and I didn't like pickles on my hamburgers, so, I would pull them off and forgetting that somebody was on the level below me. So I would toss them, and I was corrected for that. But, so little things like that you have to learn, and I had to get used to. But I just couldn't get over the size of the roof. It just seemed to be just unbelievable. And when I go in Reliance Stadium today, you still think about that. This thing is so huge. It's not falling in, and yeah, it leaks in spots. But for the most part, it keeps the weather out, the elements out.
So other than games, what other type of events did you go to there?
Oh, I went to the very first basketball game that was in the Astrodome with Elvin Hayes playing for University of Houston. And at that time, his name was Lou Alcindor, but it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And U of H and UCLA were ranked #1 and #2 in the country. And that was 50-something thousand people at the Astrodome. And I was there, and I gave the archivist out there a copy of the program with the ticket stubs. I saw Muhammad Ali fight there at least 3 times. Saw him fight Ernie Terrell, Jimmy Ellis, and seemed like there was one other fight that he had there. I can't remember the name of the fighter.
Bears.
And, automobile, demolition derbies, football, naturally, baseball, yes. And I didn't go to the tennis match between Billie Jean King and I can't remember her opponent at the time. But the Astrodome was like a second home, and I look at it now almost like a family member. And when they built Reliance Stadium and it seemed like there was no use for the dome no more, it was really kind of sad, and me and some of my family members would talk about, and say, look, they just kicked the dome to the side. But it really, it's almost like a family member. I grew up with it.
Well, with that, what would you like to see happen to the dome?
That's a good question. I have to, depend on which hat I'm wearing at the time. I'm a CPA, so if I'm wearing that hat, I look at the cost of keeping it going. And so that's how I say, well, everything changed. At one time, Yankee Stadium was viewed as almost a national treasure, but they tore down the old Yankee Stadium and built a new one, and some other famous ballparks, And so when you look at it from that standpoint, you say, well, nothing stays the same forever, So I don't know. I really would like to see it kept and maintained, but put to good use. I don't know what that use could be, but it would have to be something that identifies with Houston and that will attract people. Some of the proposals that I've heard, a park, no, I don't think that would appeal to people to go out there for a park. Just a green space park. It just shouldn't seem appealing. There's too much cement out there, in that area. So the cement produces a lot of heat. Maybe some giant aquarium with fish swim all around you. I don't know. I really would like to see them keep it. But whatever they decide to do, I just hope it's something that will attract people to the city because this is the best place to live.
All right.
Good time.
So, again, you want to go on that website, there's quite a few interviews there. You want to listen to what my family has to say. 3 generations of Thompsons, our experiences with the Astrodome.
What was the website name of it?
It was the Houston Astrodome Memories, but it was the Houston Public Library Digital Archive.
Okay.
And I'll send the link out specifically. So, all right. I just found that. It's pretty neat. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to turn it over to our special guest tonight, Jonathan. Now, maybe you know Jonathan, maybe you don't. Been chapter member for how long, Jonathan?
But I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary last month.
1 year, okay. And I've asked people in the chapter if you have a story you want to share with the newsletter, if you have a presentation about, if you want to talk for 20, 30 minutes about something about Astrodome related. We're doing this all this year. Jonathan, he volunteered enthusiastically. And so we're looking forward, I know I am looking forward to hearing this presentation today. He works as a senior regulatory accountant at Amplify Energy. He volunteers in the media ministry and special needs ministry at Memorial Drive United Methodist Church. He's active in 2 Toastmaster clubs in the Houston area. He's an avid Astros fan, enjoys sharing his love for baseball with all of you and fellow chapter members, SABR members throughout. Today, he's going to present the history of Houston baseball stadiums from Colt Stadium to Daikin Park. Please welcome everybody, Jonathan Goodwin.
Down there, right? Give me 1 second.
Well, I want to thank Joe for allowing me this opportunity. Just while he's getting set up, I'm going to just give you a little bit about myself. If you don't know what Toastmasters is, it's an organization to help you with communication and leadership. And one of the main reasons I got involved in Toastmasters was because what I could do tonight, and that is share my love for baseball, tell you some stories, and just to show how much I am an avid baseball fan. A few years ago, actually from 2016, July of 2016 to June of 2017, I was the president of the Katy Toastmasters Club. There are about 130 Toastmaster clubs in the Houston area, extending all the way up to College Station and down to Gilbert. And as club president, one of the main things that you do is select a theme. And every single member of Katy Toastmasters knows that I am a dynamite baseball fan. I love the Astros. And so when I was thinking, okay, what could I think about a theme for my club, for the club here that I was president? And I selected Step Up to the Plate. And so that was just to give you a sense of what I love about baseball. And so tonight, for the next 30 to 40 minutes, I'm going to tell you a couple of personal stories, talk a little bit about some history about Colt Stadium, the Astrodome, and Amplify Park, and the various other names of the stadium. We're going to go basically in 60 plus years in about 30 to 40 minutes. So we're going to make various stops. And I want to thank Joe for showing that video, because some of the things that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to actually refer to in my presentation. So let's get started.
Or is it up there? Down there. Okay.
Okay, this is just something that I designed from a designer. That's sort of just a cool representation of the Astrodome, Minute Maid Park, the train, and then there, as you can see, that's the Colt Stadium on the right. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's start off with Colt Stadium. Now, how many in this room, unfortunately, I wasn't quite yet born. I tell people all the time, I'm as old as the Astrodome, so you know how old I am now. But how many people are old enough to actually got to see a game in Colt Stadium? One person over here, okay. All right. And so Colt Stadium, as you know, was a temporary stadium for the Colt 45s, because the Houston was awarded a Major League Baseball team. 2 no-hitters were actually by Houston. So Colt Stadium was a temporary facility. It was not designed as a long-term solution because as you know, the Astrodome was being built. And one of the cool facts that I found out is
Every year.
in the 3 years that Colt Stadium existed, so it basically 1962 to 1964, the Colt Stadium had 2.4 million in attendance over those 3 years. Guess how many in the first year of the Astrodome? They drew 2.1 million. That was one of the problems with Colt Stadium. Another interesting fact is they had a problem with rattlesnakes, and also we all hear about, since I was not around, I didn't get to experience it, but the, hot weather and the mosquito problem. So that's our first stop, is the Colt Stadium. Now let's talk about Roy Hopkins, and he is the man, past Houston mayor. He was the visionary. He was the man that thought up the idea to create what initially was called the Harris County Dome Stadium, ultimately got the name of the Astrodome. He got the idea for the design of the stadium when he and his wife in 1962 attended Rome. So that was sort of vision. And another interesting fact is on April the 10th, 1962, when he celebrated his 50th birthday, the Colt 45s beat that was actually Colt Stadium, but he was the visionary. A lot of times we hear
You saw the Roman Coliseum.
Roman Coliseum, right. And the one thing that I've realized in my 60 years of life is we need more people like Roy Hopkins that have vision, and hopefully over the time of that we will ultimately have an idea on what to do with the Astrodome. So let's talk about some of the different things that have happened in the Astrodome. The rodeo is one of the common things. In 1970-74, anybody attend Elvis's performances, the Jackson 5 in 73, the Rolling Stones. So the Houston Livestock Show was one of the most pivotal things, the reason why the legislature gave the Harris County the authority to create bonds to build the Astrodome. Now, next, one of our main focuses is the Astro highlights in the dome. Unfortunately, some of the most disappointing highlights are the 1980 National League Championship Series, where we ultimately lost to the Phillies, and then the 86, the Mets. One of the cool things is in 1986, when Michael Scott threw a no-hitter to secure the National League West, many people have probably seen that infamous highlight, the ground ball that's hit to Art Howe, and then he gets the guy out and to clinch the game. And one of the cool things is, and unfortunately I haven't been able to locate it, but when Art Howe was an active member of the Astros, he actually made a personal appearance at Foley's department store, and I got a picture with him, and I was scrambling, trying to find it, but unfortunately I'm not. But if I do find it, I'll bring it to a future SABR meeting and show you, because that's to me what are cool memories. Then let's talk about the Oilers. There's many highlights. The playoffs, Warren Moon, Robert Brazil, Dan Pastorini, the many playoff runs. And I still to this day feel like that when that Michael Renfro was in bounds, and I wish we had but
We agree.
yeah, but ultimately
And
the
Earl
Oilers
Campbell
moved to
against
Tennessee. What's that?
Earl Campbell on that 80
Oh,
yard
yeah, that
touchdown.
was another, that Monday night football game with Earl Campbell. That was great. So unfortunately, Bud Adams, being the idiot he was, he moved the team to ultimately basically force to to remove the scoreboard. And ultimately, they moved to Tennessee. And I still can't get over when I watch the Texans play the Titans and you see the the Titans wearing the Oiler Derek, and that's the most awful thing that's ever happened. But another key thing is the Astrodome has been used in many movies, Friday Night Lights. These are just a couple of movies that were actually filmed in the Astrodome. And then another key Astrodome memory that I have is the Thrill Show and Destruction Derby. This is some memory that I have many years when I was in junior high and high school, and my dad would take me to the Thrill Show and Destruction Derby. And anybody know who, unfortunately, he died at a very young age, but Dar Robinson, when he actually did a stunt from the top of the Astrodome, and I think I remember, and then, but that was a memory that to this day I will never forget.
Jonathan, is that a Evil Knievel jumping over the 13?
It might be. Oh, and
1971?
that's another thing well, this is one thing that I did find in the process of, when I was thinking of pictures and things, is I found this, and unfortunately I forgot to bring it tonight, but this Astrodome book that had a lot of, so most of the photos that I'm showing are basically scans from that. Then we moved to tennis and basketball, which we referenced in that video earlier. That tennis match happened on September 20th, 1973 between Billie Jean King, who at the time was 29, and Bobby Riggs was 55. And as you know, Billie Jean King beat Bobby Riggs in 3 sets, 90 million people. It was a big win for women's tennis. And I'm a big sports talk radio listener. And, the Super Bowl was just this past weeks ago, or actually last Sunday in New Orleans. And I heard that she was like one of the most requested persons on Radio Row. And then, as you can tell, the picture on the right is the infamous, the first NCAA regular season game that was broadcast in prime time. It happened on January the 20th, 1968. Lou Alcindor, and it was UCLA was coached by the John Wooden, and the UH was coached by the legendary Guy V. Lewis. And as you know, the UH ended the 47-game win streak by UCLA. So that's another.
Before you flip it, look at all the fans for both of those.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It just back.
It's just, and that's the cool thing about the Astrodome is its versatility. Then another thing that it was used for was the Billy Graham Crusade in 1965, right after it opened, and in 1992 at the Republican Convention, where George W. Bush was nominated with Vice President Dan Quayle. And that was one of the key things related to the Astros is that in order to accommodate them, the Astros had to have a 28-day road trip, which consisted of 26 games away from the Dome. And also the Oilers played their entire preseason on the road. So then the circus was in the Astrodome for a short periodically. And so the final thoughts is that, the Astrodome was just, we often refer to it as the 8th wonder of the world. It was the first fully enclosed air-conditioned stadium. I mean, I know we like seeing outdoors baseball, like when we go to the Space Cowboys in June and July, but we sure do appreciate the fact that we have a retractable roof at Daikin Park. So, and these are again two, and then the other thing, last thought, and the one thing that I really appreciate that when the Astros did move initially to Enron Field, just and I'm gonna have another slide in a minute. The recreation of some of the classic Astro cartoon animation. And I encourage you, just like Joe said about the Astrodome Memories website, if you want to go down a rabbit hole, just go to YouTube and type in Astrodome, and you'll see a slew of different past videos of the home run spectacular and other things of that sort. So let's move to downtown. And the Astros were able to move downtown, and because they wanted their own stadium. They basically worked with they created an agency called the Houston Sports Authority to basically they passed a referendum. They passed the car rental tax to basically fund not only Enron Field, which ultimately is now Daikin Park, and Toyota Center. So let's, and I just briefly talked about that. As you know, when it opened, Enron was a reputable company. We all know what happened there. Then for just a brief period of time, it was Astros Field. For many years, it was referred to as Minute Maid Park, or often referred to as Juice Box. And now it's going to be referred to as Daikin Park as of January 1st.
Yeah.
And one of the cool things that I didn't read the article, but they said that one of the things they're going to do, many of you that went to Astro Fan Fest saw the train up there. One of the things that I think I read is that they're going to basically do homage to the history of the stadiums. So some of the unique features about Enron, well, it's now Daikin Park, is that you can see this is an older, this is actually a personal picture of mine. You can see Tal's Hill. The fact that it has a retractable roof, you can actually get married at, if you know someone who's getting married and want a unique venue, you can actually get married at Daikin Park.
Hey, John. Hold on a second. You said get married at Daikin Park. It reminded me, one of the memories on that Astrodome website that we just watched, the Astrodome Memories website, is the story of a woman who actually got married at the Astrodome. Okay, so you can actually listen to that. So go ahead, John. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah, and that's one of the things that I encourage. If you have a memory or something that is popped up here, and you have something that you want to share, I won't. Another cool feature is, and I don't think it's in my picture, but the home run counter that's right around, right behind center field. Food, that's another thing that's cool. That I love is the different themes and the music. I don't know if you remember, several years ago they had a Star Wars themed Friday night, and I videotaped it, and I, for the life of me, not sure where it is on my computer, but they did a really cool sketch with Orbit, and that was the one cool thing is when they basically reintroduced the sort of iconic colors of the Astros, and they brought back Orbit, and they had a really cool video. So that's something that's some of the Astro moments. That's one thing that we'll definitely cherish during the time that it was called Minute Maid Park. Is we had the 2 World Series championships. And right now we're debating. Okay, are we glad? Are we not so glad that Bert Bregman signed with the Boston Red Sox? And people are saying, okay, are the Astros are going to continue to be a good team? And the one thing that I'm going to think about is notice how we won the World Series in 2017 and 2022. when we look back in 10 or 20 years, you know, we think that the 2019 team with Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, that was the best, one of the best teams the Astros had, but we didn't win the World Series. And so, you know, the Dodgers spent, you know, $1 gazillion to try to buy another championship, but, you know, we'll see what happens. We had the first World Series, though, got swept by the Chicago White Sox. And then Craig Biggio's last game, and then the Astros with Jim Crane buying the club. The Astros joined the American League in 2013, and I definitely think that was definitely a good move. So those are some highlights. Then in 2019, the Astros decided we need to finally recognize some of our many past team members of the Astros, and they created a Hall of Fame. And in essence, it's usually the first or second weekend in August. They induct members into the Hall of Fame, give them these cool jackets. And one of the things that I'm a big, another thing that I love is score music, and I love the music that they always use for, and you can think of all the great members that are now the Houston, their team Hall of Fame. We have three, we have the two Hall of Famers, Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio, and then newly recognized and well-deserved for Billy Wagner, and then some of the classic Nolan Ryan, J.R. Richard, you know, and I think that's one thing that we need to look at this year as we reflect on the Astrodome, and what we need to do with it is to remember not only our current members of the Astros that are on the current roster, but all the many Astros that have played for the team.
John,
Yes,
before you get off the Hall of Fame, could
sure,
Bob Durrell speak a minute
sure,
and tell you how they're selected?
sure.
And how many members we have of this chapter that are on the Hall of Fame selection committee?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, what would you like to?
Anytime.
Yeah, right now.
Take it away, Bob.
Thank you, Mike. What an introduction. I got it, thank you. Yeah, there are Hall of Fame selection committee composed of 10 people who have been selected by the Astros approved by management. Guys like Craig Biggio, Larry Dierker, Bill Brown, Mike Costa, and Mike Vance are members, along with a few sports people, sports writers. We meet at least 3 times a year to discuss who we might need to nominate to be members of the Hall of Fame. And then we vote. You should be a former uniform player or a former executive. And we usually have 10 uniform players are on the ballot, and usually we have 5 non-uniform people. There are certain requirements. You have to be retired from baseball for 5 years, like the Big Hall of Fame, and you have to serve at least 3 solid years with the Houston Astros. There are other qualifications too, like citizenship and that kind of stuff. It's really a thrill to be on the particular committee. I forgot Bill Brown is also on the selection committee. For your information, we met last Friday for our meeting, and we have decided that there will be no inductee from the class of 2025 because we're going to devote a lot of our attention to Billy Wagner. He's going to have a special day, and we're kind of thrilled about that, and we're hoping Billy doesn't cry, but he likes to cry. He's the nicest guy in the world, but we are the 10 people who make those decisions. We get recommendations from time to time. In fact, one individual after the first ballot, after the first committee, the first inductees, her player was not selected.
Cesar Cedeno. So she called me on the phone and said, would it help if we put up a billboard all around town asking people to vote for Cesar Cedeno? No, I'm not gonna work, but anyway, it shows the interest in it. Eventually, we hope to have our own room, not just a corporate box area. It's gonna take about $6 million to build a facility there in Daikin Park, where we can have access to our Hall of Fame 365 days. People are pretty excited about this Hall of Fame recognition. And we're pretty excited to have the opportunity to participate in the selection of honoree. Any questions?
But what I'm excited about is how many members of this chapter right here are involved in that Hall of Fame. 'Cause
5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Members of this SABR.
and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bob, for that, excellent. And it's, Bill Brown, Larry Dierker, let me see who else that are chapter members.
Bob, Mike Acosta, Mike Vance.
I mean, as far as our members of the, yeah. So I think that's important.
Darker, that's it.
Yeah, so that's, so that's, because I think, one of the things that I think about is, when you look back at, like Billy Wagner, I mean, I can remember, every time he came into the game, I mean, he slammed the door on the other team's possibility of trying to come back. I mean, he had that, and many of you have probably heard the story about how he got his arm broken and he had to start throwing, I think, left-handed and stuff. So, that was very interesting. Another thing that is, I think, really cool about Daikin Park, and something that Jim Crane started is the Winter Invitational, which happened a couple of weeks ago. He went to I think it's University of Southern Missouri. He has a baseball tournament that he helps organize. And then the Cactus Jack HBCU Classic. Every year they have a celebrity softball. I've never attended that in person, but that's an opportunity for historically Black colleges and universities. And then lastly, and it's coming up, not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. And that's an opportunity. I think many Major League Baseball players, college players that have gone on to become Major League Baseball players have attended. Many of you, if you're a Texas Aggie, or I graduated from the Better University in Austin. They oftentimes attend, and I remember one year I attended the College Classic at LSU, and they definitely traveled well. So that's another thing. Then another thing. So one of the cool things that they did, you can click on that, Christopher. Yes. Not be embedded, see. But one of the cool things that they've done at, well, it's okay. That's something that I think is really cool, how they've been able to, through technology, transfer some of the classic Astrodome cartoons. And to me, one of the most favorite ones that I remember when I was going to an Astros game is when a pitcher got sent to the showers. And another, I know I was already moved to Minute Maid Park, but another cool Astrodome memory. And both of my dad passed away in 2008, but my mother is still alive. And I'll never forget when one year, when it was, I think, sophomore, junior in high school, and my parents, both my parents were never really, my mother was more of a diehard Astro fan than my dad was, but we got mini season tickets in the Astrodome, basically in left field. And one of the things that I tried to find on YouTube, but I could not find, was a classic call of Jose Cruz by, how many people remember J. Fred Daikin? Unbelievable. You know, Bob Ford is now basically the PA announcer at Daikin Park. But at the Astrodome, I mean, and unfortunately, I could not find a clip of him, but his classic, when he introduced Jose Cruz and we were in left field, basically in the mezzanine, right behind him. You know, if we got tickets now in Daikin Park, we'd be right in close proximity to see our newly minted left fielder Jose Altuve, or as Joe Espada says, Posey Altuve. But this is one thing that I think is a memory, is these classic Astrodome cartoons. And then another thing that's really cool.
What are you talking about when Duckett would hold out the crew?
Oh, yeah, I mean, and I'm, you know, I have a loud voice, but I'm not gonna, yeah. But another cool thing that they do at Daikin, well, we now Daikin Park, is different theme meetings, theme nights. For example, and I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So I always loved each year when they have Star Wars night, and I think Peanuts, and then I've heard that Hello Kitty is like unbelievable. But they'll have different graphics, you know. And that's, anybody know what that is? Anybody excited for season 5? Stranger Things, right, and that's a cool thing that they do. And then another thing, you know, one of the things that I think is great, both that they did at the Astrodome that I demonstrated tonight, and at Minute Maid Park, is, yeah, the primary reason that Daikin Park was built was for the Astros to have a place to play baseball. But to me, you know, you can see this A-list of past artists, you know, Taylor Swift, anybody know who she is? No. Billy Joel, Bad Bunny, Chris Stapleton, and so that's interesting. And then just final thoughts is, these are just some pictures that I took, but you know, I'm excited for this year. You know, everybody's down. Bregman's now a Boston Red Sox. We traded away Kyle Tucker, but I am confident with Jim Crane and his management team, Dana Brown, that 2025 is going to be another awesome season for the Astros.
Good houses.
And then we have the new chapter, Daikin Park, and like I said, I saw an article in the Houston Chronicle where they're going to do some sort of homage to, you know, I think on opening day, they're gonna divulge what's gonna actually be in the train. And I think we've already sort of adopted because Daikin is an AC company, refer to it now as from the juice box to the ice box. And as Mike said, on April the 12th, we will be going to Constellation Field. And how many people know what that's a picture of?
A trip. Starting lineup.
No. What, anybody been to
You ate some mushrooms?
Sugarland? Yeah, the holiday lights. If you have never been to the Sugarland holiday lights, and maybe as a chapter we could organize, but and you'll see a video in just a second. It is unbelievable what they do to take a minor league stadium and turn it into, you know, I mean, this doesn't do it, you know, justice. And I'll move to the last slide.
Nice.
Right, so that's, yeah, that's that. So. I want to again, thank everybody for coming tonight and, want to appreciate Joe, the opportunity. One of the main reasons I got in Toastmasters is because I want to give presentations like this. Because, the one thing that I would encourage everybody to do is think about what you loved about the Astrodome, and then definitely take up, I think it was a great presentation last month by Mike Acosta, and figure out what we can ultimately collectively do to preserve the Astrodome, because I think it's a building, but it's more than just a building. I bet you if we went around the room, which we don't have time for, but I bet you everybody in this room has a memory, whether it was as a son, as a parent, or a son or a daughter. So I'll turn it back over to
Jonathan, I actually have a question for you.
Sure.
Did you go to the Astros?
Oh, yes.
Do you have a favorite baseball memory of the Astros?
Well, probably the time that year that my parents got me mini season tickets. I mean, and just
What year was that?
it's like let's see, I graduated in 80, probably around between like 79 to 83. So I don't know if it was the 1980. I'll have to ask my mom if I can remember what year it was. I think I was maybe a sophomore or junior, so it might have been the year after they won, 1980, when they played the Phillies.
Does any specific performance stand out in those times that you?
No, just
like J.R. Richard or something like that.
I mean, he probably is a player that his ability. I mean, and he tragically, died at, but stuff is good.
All right, anybody else got a question for Jonathan?
No.
Thank you, Jonathan.
On the SABR, SABR.org website, that a lot of the articles that were in the 2014, this chapter is posted to the SABR Convention 2014, we made a publication. And most of those articles are on the SABR national websites. There's several about creation of the dome there. It also had this really great one, talking about how Houston changed baseball. There's a great article by Gilbert about how the culture plan, their first game when it was really hot was a double header versus the Dodgers on Sunday in like July, and how this is outdoors, July, double header. 4th of July.
And at that time, Sunday games had to be during the day. So they started at noon in the middle of July, during the heat wave, and like 80 people had to go to the hospital because of heat stroke. And like 2 days later, Major League Baseball said, "We're gonna stop that rule. You can play on Sunday night. It means safety of the base."
All right.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you. Last but not least, we have a trivia contest.
Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
Bob,
Hold on.
you got show and tell.
I'm so sorry. I apologize. I cannot believe, sir. Please. Does anybody have an Astrodome memory besides Bob Durrell? You can go after Bob. I'd like to introduce Bob, who has an Astrodome memory. If you have an Astrodome memory and you don't want to speak tonight, or if you have more than one Astrodome memory, you can speak tonight and next month and every other month until the end of the year. So, Bob Durrell, President Emeritus. Thank you, Jim. As a member.
Jody. Got a nice presentation on the ballparks, and we enjoyed it. I don't know if you know it, but there were 12 more ballparks where baseball was playing in Houston before Colt Stadium. And I have a list of all of them. Those of you who have the early Houston baseball, 1981 to 2081, has a list of all the ballparks and also a map of where those ballparks were. We've been lucky enough to be able to put some placards up at 3 of them so far. And we're working on our 4th now. We're gonna put one up at Colt Stadium, thank you, my fans. But those who want more information about Houston baseball before the Astros, or want to know about ballparks, or any baseball activity, Little League, whatever, in that book, which I'll be glad to give to our speaker tonight. I happen to have one, only 10 left in the circulation.
What's that?
The book.
Oh, actually, I have quite a few of those books in my truck right now.
Actually, I have about 500.
Houston
up there.
baseball, the early
Where?
years, 1861 to 1961.
Well, you're the only one that has them, and that's great.
And we
Yeah.
will be selling them to chapter members to a discount to build up our treasury.
Yeah, you heard Mike right there. If you'd like a copy, we could sell you one for a discount.
$40. Regular, how much are those? $60?
Something like that. But
About 30. 22, that's the giveaway.
all right, Bob, you got your
But Joe will take your orders and we'll bring them at every meeting. You can buy them.
I'm in my truck.
Joe said if anybody had any memorabilia they wanted to bring to the meeting, to show to you folks, I said, okay, let me dig through my archives and my closet, grocery, and attic. And I have several here, some of which you may have seen. All of them are directly related to the Astros and the Astrodome. In no particular order, this is a bat that I was given by a guy named Mark Davidson. He was the 26th man on the 25-man roster. He was going up and down, stand wherever you want me to. He was an outfielder, very good ball player, but he just could not keep playing, make the 25-man roster. He did play for Minnesota. He did win a World Series ring when Minnesota won the World Series. I happened to have coached him when he was an 11 to 12-year-old. You could tell right then and there he was going to be a heck of a ball player. And so he came up to the Astros. I kept in touch with him. And one day he gave me one of his bats. And it says, "To Bob, where it all started. Thanks, Mark Davidson." So if you'd like to look at that bat,
What year did he play?
It'd be in the 80s.
in the 80s. He also was kind enough to give me his uniform. So this is his uniform. Happens to be he was kind of a slim guy, so it's a 43 size. And has the patch on here from 1990. And this is the uniform he wore. Now, if those of you who know uniforms, the Astros had 2 color uniforms that looked a lot alike. One was white and one was off-white. This is the off-white one, which is the one they played on the road. So I thank him for doing that for me. Pass that around. Okay. Can anybody think of another event that might have taken place at the Astrodome that's a little unique?
The offshore technology convention?
It's a sporting event.
Oh, sporting event.
A sporting event.
Boxing tournaments.
A what?
Bullfighting.
You got it. Bullfighting. Actually, I have a ticket application for anybody who wants to watch bullfights. And the ticket prices were next to nothing, but you could come and you could watch the bulls fight. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Steak night.
So this is the order form. I don't know where it came from, but I found it in my memorabilia. Told me to join us. So anybody want to look at bullfights or talk about bullfights?
Bob, let me get it. I got it. Okay. I got it.
All right. Something else I have, I'm kind of proud of. This is an ashtray. It came out of Judge Hoffheim's office in the Astrodome. As you can see, there's it's kind of rare. I was given this by Dick Filey, who was a member of our association. There's a lot of, but that's an actual, real ashtray and a little bit fragile. Very fragile.
From hot fans is up.
Yep.
You're still looking for
He's still looking for it.
Probably so. Okay.
Marble.
I'm sure many of you heard about the AstroTurf. Well, I have a piece of the AstroTurf.
Original.
Original AstroTurf. I have a certificate. Now, I got this from I'm not sure the most reliable source in the world, but I got a certificate. Mike is the source. Mike, thank you. So I'll pass it around. This is what it looked like. And you can imagine what it must have been to slide on something like that. Or play in the outfield. It's tough stuff.
They had a giveaway at the Astrodome when they replaced the turf. And they cut it into squares, and they gave it away as a freebie. So you got a certificate and a square from the original AstroTurf. And after the game, I went around and
That's a certificate.
picked up all the ones that were left under the seats with the beer cups that I could carry. We sold 2 of them at the SABR convention in 2014, made $170–80 on it. And then I gave one to Bob and one to Dick Bally, because Dick Bally gave away an autographed Ernie Banks ball from the Cubs. We got good money for that at the auction too.
Okay, we also have an autographed baseball. Art Howe happened to be the skipper at the time. The autographs are all readable. You can tell who signed them. They're not scribbled. I forget what year it was, but it's definitely at the Astrodome. You can take a look and see how many you can identify from Larry Dierker on down. And then, of course, there are a number of publications that have come out inside the Astrodome. Joe, you may have a copy of this one. The Astrodome. There are tons of books on magazines. So pass those around, and you can see. The last thing I have is a hat from one of the Astros gave me. No name, no number, but that's what's during the Astro years. So it's amazing how many things are available, how many things are out there being sold. I understand that this Cooper, a basketball star, is now selling her autograph for over $400 a piece. And wow. So anyway, that's my story.
Thank you, Bob. Here you go. What you got, Mike? Okay. Patrick. Well, trivia time, everybody.
Thank you. That's your super.
Yeah, I want to make sure. You about Matt Ian Jones. So the winner tonight wins Sports Revolution: How Texas Changed the Culture of American Athletics. A lot of good stories in here about the Astrodome, written by an associate professor, Frank Andre Garidi. Not Greedy, but good reading. It's great book here. Working teams, whatever. Here's a book part.
Should be enough going around for everyone. Maybe you have to share. I'm going to go through these for those of you online, those of you in the rooms. Feel free to work at your own pace, and we'll go over as actually that. So there's 10 questions for a total of 17 points, and all are about the Astrodome. So we go to the first question first.
This is a PhD course.
Which it?
This is a trivia, the PhD trivia.
Yeah.
Not regular.
I think regular. Yeah, shouldn't be too bad. So first question is pitcher. Was the only player close to winning record in each of the 45's first 6 seasons, had his ashes spread over the Astrodome construction site. Answer those online. Who was the first player to get a regular season home run in the Astrodome? So not the first home run in the Astrodome, the first regular season home run.
Inside the park or out?
Out of it.
Skip one.
No, it's third one. The first game we played on AstroTurf featured what two Hall of Fame pitchers going head to head? Is the pitching matchup in the first game played on AstroTurf. June 8th, 1971, an Astrodome record low crowd of 1,740 people watched as the Astros took on which team?
How was it? Where's the questions? Have you have any?
No. Next question, June 15th, 1976, game against the Pittsburgh Pirates was canceled. What was the reason?
You better have an extra pen. What number is that?
It's up 5 or 6. You should know most of these, Mike.
Yeah, I should know.
This should be in your wheelhouse. The Astrodome hosted the All-Star Game twice. Who were the MVPs? So 2 answers for that one. So AstroTurf made its debut on infield only on April 16th, 1966. Who was the opponents? The Astros played on July 19th. That year was the first game where the entire field was AstroTurf. Well, half the season was infield only, and they covered the outfield in July 66. Who the Astro opponent that year or that day?
Those are easy because there were no interleague games. You
Yeah,
just have
sure,
a
yeah.
half team. Yes.
This one might take a minute. 6 pitchers threw no hitters in the Astrodome. Name them. Six answers here. One was mentioned earlier. Another one should be pretty obvious. We talk about it pretty regularly. Oh.
Then scroll back and see if they go back.
Yeah, we'll skip ahead. Nice. So just what, 2? Who's the last Astros pitcher to earn a win in the Dome? Ooh. And the last question, which player had the last at-bat in Astrodome history? So yeah, major league player, so which was the last
Well, that's a
at-bat?
technicality, is at bat or a plate appearance.
Let's save the ball.
Larry Dierker, I hope they thank you that last game in Astrodome. That's. With 1 round to 4, he's going to trade balls. Big up. What's that? That's good. That's a lot. Where?
Ready to move on to the answer?
Not quite.
You need a couple minutes, okay?
Hey, Bob, I'm looking up Mark Davidson's stats. He batted 292 one year with the Astros,
How many at bats?
130 at bats.
Oh, some shit.
Dude, Southern play, Southern league. What about the player? World Series play on a bar, North Carolina.
Senior moment?
Is that right? He didn't coach him very well. He had a lot more strikeouts than walks. Well, I'm putting Bob's initials on that. That was his fault.
On road here. 3 in 1 day.
On number 3, should we say the Hall of Fame? First game played last church. Yes, it's you then. Yeah, Davis, the Hall of Fame. You know, on National Baseball of it.
That's it. Thanks, sir. All right, that is all right.
All right, ready to move on to answers here?
If I were guesses.
Of course, we normally are. The meeting.
I got 8.
Oh.
First question
I have
here,
no idea.
what pitcher passed away tragically, it was some form of cancer, so Jim Albright had his ashes spread over the Astro construction site.
1 point. Yes, and his numbers retired.
So yeah, first, number retired. First player to a regular season home run, kick out the Phillies.
When the Astrodome, yeah, I saw that. Billy's won 2 tonight.
Pitchers that went head to head in the first game of AstroTurf, that was Robin Roberts, the Astros versus Don Sutton, the Dodgers. That was his second career start, first career win for Don Sutton.
If I got Robin Roberts, but.
Each one is a point.
Okay.
Yeah, so 17 total points on this, so each answer is 1 point. Astrodome record low crowd 1971 was against the Reds.
Reds.
Coincidentally, the Reds were also the highest drawing crowd in 1999, towards the end of the regular season. The highest drawing crowd, highest Astrodome crowd as well was against the Reds. Yeah. Don Sutton. Game 1976 was officially considered a rainout
That was a rain in.
because it was.
What they
flooding in
call it,
Houston
the-
area.
Yeah.
The two All-Star games in the Astrodome, 1968, Willie Mays was the MVP, and 1986 was Roger Clemens.
Yeah, okay.
Was Clemens? You know, Fernando Valenzuela tied Carl Hubbell's record of striking out 5 All-Stars in a row in that game. I thought it was in.
You have a question?
Yep, so the. Next one's the first game that the full field was AstroTurf.
Phillies.
It's against the Phillies.
Oh, missed that one.
And the 6 pitchers who threw no hitters, all were Astros players. Interesting. So first one was Don Wilson, then Larry Dierker, Ken Forsch, Nolan Ryan, Mike Scott, and Darryl Kyle.
No one got Larry Dierker. I think we should ban him from this operation.
Darryl Kyle, that's 6, so we don't have wrong. Don Notabart.
Chris, go back to that level for a second.
What in the dome yet with Don Notabart?
Can you go back to
Let's
the
go back,
last slide, please?
Wilson, Dierker, Forsch,
Ryan, Scott, Kyle.
Yeah, there you go. I had tickets to that Ken Force. A friend of mine was getting married, so I gave him away, and then he canceled his wedding. Pissed. I'm still pissed. But I saw Dierker's no hitter after that. Okay.
So last Astros pitcher to win known was Mike Hampton. And any guess on the last at bat?
Caminette.
Yes, can't come out here.
And I think he also hit the last home run of the
Yeah,
dome.
last home run and then his next at bat, he grounded out. Yeah. That was that game 4 against the Braves playoff series.
I don't know, I just remember he hit the last
Yeah.
home run. I got that in an Astros trivia contest. Okay.
I think I actually want to challenge an answer to one of the questions.
Oh, here we go.
Who said
So-
that?
I did. So the question about I think it was number 7, the first game with all AstroTurf. That one right there. According to Jimmy Wynn's book, the first one with just AstroTurf in the infield was played against the Dodgers, but then the first game with full AstroTurf was played against the Cubs.
MLB.com had the Phillies on July 19th. So
I mean, I don't care, but
You have either one of those teams?
I'll verify real quick while you guys are heading up.
Well, I missed it because I had the Dodgers. I guess I was thinking the infield. Yeah. I had 7 choices.
yeah, I didn't know it's Henry only.
Did you get Mike 13?
So Mike got 11.
11? Mike got 11.
Herb at 11. Anyone?
Herb had 11. Anybody online? I got a cramp.
What year was that first game? July
I got
19th?
12.
Yeah, July 19th.
Who had 12?
I got 12.
Maybe 13?
Yeah, but you looked up the answer. You can't do that.
Cubs.
You can't go to Jimmy Wynn's book during the quiz.
I didn't go during the quiz. I remembered what he said. I went back to challenge something. I already had the answer there.
Philadelphia.
All right, so
Philadelphia is the right answer. Philadelphia up for this one, according to retro sheet.
All right, you're down to 11.
So Samuel, you got 12?
Yeah, I got 12, even with that. Yeah, I got that question wrong anyway, so I got 12.
Anybody beat 12? Guess what, man? You get to write the trivia contest for the.
Okay.
And I'll get your book for you.
That's the book right here. All right. Yeah, Samuel won it. Get this right here.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's cool right there. Yeah, that'll be
Texas.
Joe, you have one about Alabama changed the face of baseball?
No, it's,
What, did Nick Saban coach baseball too?
He said that.
All right, everyone, thanks for coming tonight. We'll have Benny Gilbert next month. If you're interested in seeing Tal Smith at the April game for Space Cowboys, talk to Mike.
Mail me a
And,
check.
if you got a story for the Astrodome, please bring it next month. I have a story myself that I'm bringing next month. All right? Yes, Mike? Anybody have anything else?
No, just saying, mail me a check, $65 a ticket, $4 parking, SL Baseball LLC.
SL Baseball LLC, $65 a person, $4 for parkers. Have a great day. Astros. See you later. Bye-bye.
So who's this speaker next month?
Benny Gilbert.
That's correct.
Benny.
Very good.